Hey guys, when you have a function or a method in Python that has arguments with default values, always bear in mind that the default values are evaluated only once, and that is when the function or method is defined. Um, I'm speaking about mutable variables here or mutable objects, things like lists, dictionaries, sets, byte arrays, and user-defined classes in Python. I'm assuming that you know what the difference is between mutable and immutable objects here. So if we have a look at this example here, I have a small function here, my function 1. It receives an item and it has an argument, my list, that has default value empty list, right? And I can do some processing here, and then I'm appending that item to the list and then returning the list. If I run that, and then if I call the function now, my function 1 with element 3, then we expect it to return a list that has one element, that's 3. Now if I call it with 2, what do we expect? Do we expect to have a list that has one item which is 2, or it'll have 2 and 3? Let's have a look. You see it has the 3 and 2, and if I call it with 1 again, it returns 3, 2, 1. So that list is not returned or not evaluated to the empty list and then the new item is appended, but rather it keeps adding to the original list, which is, like I said before, it depends on how you see it. Sometimes this behavior is desired, sometimes it's not desired. It depends on how you want the function to behave. But to avoid that, we should avoid using mutable objects as function defaults, but rather we can use none. So what we do here is, instead of saying my list equals empty list, I can say my list equals none, because none is immutable, and then I can check the value of none. I can check the value of my list. If it's none, then I say my list now is an empty list, and then append. If it's not none, then it will continue immediately. But remember, because none is not immutable, this will always be true. So I will always get a new empty list, which means when I add any item, I will always get a list with one item. Let's have a look at the behavior. If I run that and then call my function 2 now, this one called my function 2, do that, I get a list of 1. If I send it 2, do we get a list of 1 and 2 or a list of 2? Let's have a look. I get a list that has only 2, and then if I call it with 3, I get a list with only 3. So I hope you can see the difference. Like I said, it depends on how you want the function to behave. Nice and easy. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.